Hello. So it'll be interesting to see if our connection, how the connection develops as people are re-entering society, and in fact, that's one of the things that I wanted to focus on with you this morning is the wanting to connect and wanting to be on your own, wanting to expand and not wanting to expand. And what it put me in mind of is that we can use our attention to encompass things that look like opposites. And I was also thinking about how our attention not only creates presence, but it creates connection. And that so much of what people are experiencing right now is a lack of connection, is a sense of, where am I? Where is everybody? And so I was thinking of the image of weaving that's been so present for me over the last period of time. And I'm imagining that you, as well as I've been experiencing what I would call sort of frayed edges. Like if you have a something that's woven and you get a little burn in it, and then the edges of the weaving begin to sort of separate from each other. I'd like you to just tune in to you, give attention to you, and notice any part of you right now that's feeling somewhat frayed, or just not quite connected. Just let your body tell you that. Just give attention. In fact, kind of let it spiral around you or scan your body top to bottom or feet up to your head. Or so just notice where you feel kind of robust and where you feel more frayed, where you feel spacious in you and where you feel more contracted, or maybe just even numb, where you don't even notice where you're connected and where you're not. And here's the thing I'd like us to practice today is including opposites. So giving attention to you, I'd like you to first give attention to where you're feeling frayed or edgy. And then let your attention go to the area or areas in where you feel robust or filled out in yourself. Beautiful. And then I'd like you to let your attention weave those two, just gently moving between those two. So either expanding to include both or moving your attention back and forth in your body from the area that feels frayed or contracted to the area that feels robust. Yeah, beautiful. And what I'm noticing is that you're letting your body respond to where your attention goes. And so if there's deeper breathing or there's sound or movement wants to occur, beautiful. Just go ahead and let that happen. So you're letting your attention simply land on, include, and be with where you're feeling that kind of I'm here, and when you're where you're feeling more wispy or just not quite connected or more frayed. Yeah, beautiful. And then I'd like you to let your attention turn to the outside of you, and maybe even outside of the room, to areas where I'd like you to notice where there's brightness and space, and then let your attention go to where things are more shadowed or more hidden or more condensed. So I'm letting my attention first goes to a plant that I see outside that literally has light on it. And then I'm letting my attention go to an area that has a whole bunch of piled up leaves that haven't been moved yet. And I'm going to let my attention just lightly go back and forth between, light on the plant, pile of leaves. And as I do that, I notice my own judgments like, light on the plant, good, pile of leaves, bad, and letting myself acknowledge the judgments and include the judgments, and letting my attention, and what is my attention other than my giving my presence to something? So, as you do that for a couple of times of just letting yourself go back and forth, including what you're noticing that's expansive and what you're noticing that's more contracted, notice how your body responds to that. So, you're bringing your attention back over to you, letting it land on you. And I'd like you to notice as you're doing that, as you're letting your attention move between opposites and move between noticing out there and noticing in here, that you're literally weaving. You're letting your attention move those substances or qualities and bringing your presence to them. And so as you're weaving, notice what the experience of weaving is for you. And notice what happens. Like if I'm weaving, I have this one sweater that I really love, but it's very lightly woven. And if I catch anything, like on a, just opening a door and I catch something, that it pulls a thread. So I'd like you to notice inside you if you have any pulled threads. And by that, I mean like something that was unexpected that happened. You're going along and something goes whoops, or you knock something over or you forget something. So the frayed edges, what do you do? Like in knitting, if you drop a stitch, what do? So in our lives, things don't remain whole all the time. We're dropping stitches all the time. So I'd like you to notice inside any place where you feel like, oh, I may have dropped a stitch there. I might have let something fray and I haven't given it my attention. So what I'd like you to do now is to gather up and love scoop a couple of times, bringing in this the attention to loving yourself, noticing where expansion is around you and bringing that into you. And bring your love scoops into any place in you where you're feeling frayed, any place in you where things are a little rough. Like I've been noticing that, I'm usually I feel what I call kind of an equanimity. It's kind of a, so this is how things are. But if I'm a little depleted, I have a little kind of rant. If something unexpected happens, I experience a little kind of rant. And I'd like you to notice your equivalent of the rant. Like whoa. Someone just asks isn't a question, and you have a kind of what response. And to me, that lets me know that I've got some frayed edges in there that are needing my attention. Yeah, so I'd like you to let yourself love scoop and let that actually land. So I'm noticing that I want to give some attention around my eyes. One of my experiences also of frayed, which I think is also a good thing, is that I'm noticing that I've been crying more. I see something that moves me, I'm crying. I see something, I hear this music and I'm crying. I see something that um, like the Keystone Pipeline being ended, and I start crying. So for me, that is another way of weaving. So I'd also love for you to give attention to any place in you where you're feeling that flow of sadness or more depletion. And let yourself also love scoop and let that love go out around you to the places that you're noticing that are contracted and open, and let the love scoop include both of them. I also I'm in the middle of a big construction project here. I don't know if you're hearing this, but there's a ladder going up outside. And so there's just a little bit. So if you're hearing kind of bang, 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 notice that I didn't go rant. So because I'm getting filled up now by our being together. But that's exactly the kind of thing where I would go rant. Because I've hired them to paint the house, but they're painting it in the middle when I'm doing something else, don't they know? So our logic tends to disappear when we feel afraid, and our sense of spaciousness and allowing. So I wonder now if combining love scoops and shifting your attention, you can simply be acknowledging, some things are expanding, some things are contracting, some things are falling away, some things are coming in. And the other element that I really would love to have you keep including today, there's this wonderful saying by Andrew Taylor Still, which I've probably shared with you before, and that is the rule of the artery is supreme. The rule of the artery is supreme. And how I translate that is circulation is all, circulation is everything. And if I'm stuck, if I'm stuck in my thoughts, I'm stuck in a problem, what I'm looking for instead of going into the content. So just take a moment and recall some place in your life where you've been feeling stuck, big or little. Could be with you, could be in a partnership, could be something with work, could be something just with you and the world right now. And I'd like you to notice the quality of stuck and how you experience that. Just be giving your presencing attention to that, where you're feeling stuck. And then I'd like you to do some love scoops to that place, gathering up love and bringing it to that place. And then let your attention move around that place. So you're not going right at it. We tend to, and I think that the fight response, the fear fight response is to go right at it. I'm just going to push through this. I'm just going to get over it. So notice the tendency to do that, which can be loved too. And what would happen if you let yourself wiggle, let yourself circulate your attention around the stuck place, just sort of letting it move around, letting it feel like you're fluffing a pillow, giving your attention to that. Hmm. And as you're fluffing, notice if you're feeling more space inside. And then let that space maybe circulate to some other place in you that's feeling more stuck, more rant. And the element that makes a huge difference for me is pace. So I've been perceiving, I don't know if you have in your travels around the world, there's a speeding up that's occurring. There's an invitation to sort of get back in it. Let's get back in it. Let's do stuff. And I don't know about you, but I am not ready to do that. And I may never be ready to do that, to kind of get back on what I call the gerbil wheel, the adrenaline gerbil wheel. So also now notice inside you that any place where there's a tendency to want to speed up, want to hurry up right now. And just notice the quality of that in you. I just sort of notice that particularly between my shoulder blades. And for me, since that's where anger starts in the body, I'm now going, oh, I'm feeling angry about the whole speeding up thing. And now I am going to take responsibility for moving at essence pace in the world and being a source of essence pace for others who may be on that speed up cycle. So let yourself do essence pace loop of awareness for just a minute or so, where you're turning your attention to you, enjoying that, savoring that, turning your attention to out and around you. And it could be even out where you can't see. It could be to people that you want to send some loving attention to. It could be just giving it to the world. It could be giving it to the glaciers. And then back to you. Remember, back to you. Hmm, wonderful. And then as we're drawing to a close for today, for our being together, I'd like you to just notice any place in you that wants another love scoop. Like I'm noticing my waist in back is wanting some loving attention. And I'm going to let my hands just rest there for a moment. And feeling the warmth. And I'm also letting my attention come from the inside to meet my hands. I find that incredibly powerful, that I'm meeting myself from the outside and from the inside. And that's part of what we're doing with each other too. We're meeting each other from the outside and also loving our insides and loving each other's insides. So take a look around. Let's unmute everybody and let everybody make any kind of ending sounds that you'd like to before we get off the call for today. Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you, Darlene, for taking over today. Michelle is at a graduation today, so that's part of the, life is beginning to open up again. So let that happen for you at your essence pace. And whenever you get stuck, remember that you can include everything that's going on. Mwah. So thank you. And until next time, bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.